Well, welcome everyone.
Hey, we got them wrong, I hear.
So, I'm Pam Pettingill, and I'm just going to do a brief little intro. One night I was watching the 10 o'clock news back in the 80s, and I saw, they had a map on the television, all these different places where there were events happening all at the same time. Blizzards, tornadoes, earthquakes, all the different things. And I was like, wow, I need to get cranking on my 72-hour kit. So I started compiling it, and we were living in Chicago at the time, and I had previously it was humorous how my beginning attempts, right? Because I had two little kids, and they were paper sacks, like the grocery kind, and I threw in diapers and water bottles and a flashlight and a bandana and a box of graham crackers. So now I'm in Chicago and thinking, I need to really do something. So I spent the next 6 months, maybe a year, thinking of all the things that could possibly go wrong and put together this amazing 72-hour kit that I could not lift when it was done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you maybe have experienced a similar 72-hour kit that has a latrine trowel and everything in it. So I had that for quite a while, and a funny story is there was a fire, so we were in like an apartment building, and my neighboring tenant had a fire in their kitchen, and the smoke was coming through our electrical outlets into our kitchen. And another friend was coming over that night, and he came through our door and said, Pam, your neighbor's house is on fire. Do you think maybe you ought to evacuate? And so my then husband was going to the University of Chicago, and he had his computer, and he was working, not a laptop, but the desktop computer, and he was doing term papers. So his priority was to take the computer. He took his bicycle, which was his transportation to campus. The friend who came up helped me get our kids out of bed. We went over to his house with that and my 72-hour kit. We could barely carry, because that was my pride and joy for that season of my life, right? Okay. So fast forward, I've had these experiences. Jane mentioned some of them the other day. And each one of those experiences has influenced the way I approach this now. So I want to share my first maybe aha experience, but I want you to think about some things first, and you can participate. So we're going to talk about general awareness of what's going on in the country and the world, and planning ahead, preparing ahead of time. What kind of things are you doing, or should we be doing, just generally to prepare? Go ahead, throw things out. Yes.
So it's interesting that you're talking about this tonight, because like the East Coast is going to get a really bad blizzard and ice storm. And I'm looking on the news, and of course in the supermarket, no bread, no milk, no vegetables,
No batteries.
Yeah, nothing like that. And so, what does that tell you about society? Nobody's prepared.
Well, I would say some, or a few maybe,
Yeah, I mean,
but the majority of people are not.
90%, 80% have no,
Right. Right.
have
And
no
those
idea.
few have the little paper sacks. Like, I'm just kidding.
The grocery
We have a friend in
with graham
Alabama.
crackers.
Yeah, we have a friend in Alabama, and he told us Monday. He's like,
The weatherman was
the
telling me.
weatherman has been saying, go right now and get
Okay.
buckle down, because
Okay.
it's gonna be like 2 inches of ice.
Wow. Okay. And the ice affects the trees and the lines,
Yeah,
and
that's what he
then you're
said.
going to lose
Usually power goes out
electricity
for
and
a
all
week.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least. Yes.
I have a question for everybody. How many of you have ever been through a blizzard where you've been trapped in your house for 3 or 4 days?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4?
Yeah, yeah, I have.
It's easy to keep refrigerated.
Yes. Okay, so other things, let's just kind of, fast fire them off.
Water.
Water being prepared with water, what else?
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper, we learned that.
Well, the toilet.
And the toilet, what else? Read.
We should shut off our furnaces so we can see how long we can survive without a furnace.
Well,
This is a
we
good job.
decided to do that today.
That's what this
You know,
test is, right here, yes, yes. Okay, what else? Welcome, we're talking about things that we can do, just general awareness to be generally prepared. So we're just, everybody's giving ideas. Go ahead. Yes.
Live a little less dependent every day.
Live a little less dependent every day.
Don't
Cool.
take anything for granted.
Nothing for granted. I often think of that when I turn the faucet on or flush the toilet. I really like those.
Turn the light on.
I like those features.
Our power used to go out in Washington and I'd have to go through and tape the handle so our kids could flush it if they absolutely needed to, but in general, they'd remember, not right now.
Right? Okay, any other ideas that you wanna throw out real quick?
Wear your own clothing.
Your own clothing,
I
like
mean,
a fortress, so
Yeah.
you're gonna have, your shelter is your home and your own clothing.
Yeah, I think depending on like where you're at, whether you need like stuff to board up your windows for tornadoes and
Hurricanes,
whether it's a heat wave or whether it's a blizzard or, you know, things like that. Fire, my husband and I fight fire in the summer times and, they're never ready for it. Anytime we come in, they've never been ready for it, so.
okay, so situational awareness where you live. So Reed came in this morning and said there was an earthquake on the Wasatch Front this morning, 4.7,
4.7,
I
yeah.
think. So we know that that's kind of where we live, right?
We're getting
Okay.
there. That's a big one.
Well, we know the Salt Lake Temple's about to be done.
So therefore, okay, so on my list, I have transportation, fuel, so a bicycle, whatever alternative transportation you might need. Communication, radios, family reuniting plan, how to get notifications from if there's something to look out for. Food preparations, to have a garden. First aid, cash on hand, develop skills.
Yeah, we've been trying to do something YouTube-ish at least once a week. Usually it's once every other day, just to learn new skills, even if it's just a
Anything.
YouTube and then a 5-minute shot at it, you know,
Yeah.
it's at least you know.
Okay, so I recommend that we develop skills in at least 3 areas. Making home repairs, so like if something happens to your home, you're able to repair it. You've got tools, supplies, and knowledge. How to collect and purify water. And some kind of food prep, whether it's Dutch oven or solar oven or any of whatever skills you want to have, but whatever you're interested in, because if we all learn the very same thing, then that's gonna be hard when we all get together, right? But if you learn one thing and you learn another and another, then we have a great community, right? Okay, medical skills. Take care of your medical needs now. You've all seen Castaway. That's why I have the ice skates.
Funny you would mention that, cause I just had a molar removed Monday. It came out
So
of
has
the-
anyone not seen Castaway and know what I'm talking about? There are some people who haven't
What
seen it.
is Castaway?
It's a movie, it was with Tom Hanks.
Is that what it was called? I saw it, but I didn't remember. what it
And
was called.
he was on this deserted island, but before he was on a plane crash and he ended up on the deserted island. And before he left, he mentioned that he had this toothache, he needed to go to the dentist. And he ended up, some of the packages, because he worked for FedEx, and some of the packages that's washed up to shore with him, he started, eventually, when he realized he wasn't gonna be rescued right away, he started opening the packages, and one of them was a thing of ice skates on this tropical deserted island. He thought, there's no way he's not gonna need those. He ended up using them to knock out his tooth in a very emotional, painful scene. So that's what I told my dentist.
The whole theater jumped when he did that.
He what?
The whole theater jumped when he did that.
I know, it was pretty traumatic. And I told my dentist he needs a pair of ice skates hanging on his wall. So when people say, I think I'll wait on that. Okay, that's fine, you can wait. All right, okay, so just take care of all those needs that you have
Keep them current.
while we have medical services that can take care of those things for you.
Stock up on medications.
Medications, yes.
If you can.
Antibiotics.
Antibiotics.
My doctor writes me prescriptions because he knows I don't self-medicate. So I go into Costco with 3 bulk prescriptions, like $3,000 worth. Can you fill those? Come back tomorrow. Come back the next day, there's a big bag. Cash.
Wow,
Did that 3 times.
okay.
You're probably the only one around that has antibiotics.
Well,
So, but we need to, but that's a great
well,
thing
they
to
keep
do.
about
So,
20 years.
I was
Okay.
just gonna say, amoxicillin, if you get an infection, you're gonna die from an infection. If you don't have a penicillin, amoxicillin. No, people.
Or
get-
garlic.
Or, well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying,
That
Yes.
routine UTI that you get today, it's no big deal. You go to a doctor, he gives you a prescription, you go get the pills, it's gone. You don't have that,
You're in a world of hurt.
you could die.
Yeah, I used to be able to get the amoxicillin in the powdered form because I had 2 little boys who had frequent ear infections, and I'd tell the doctor, we're going on a trip, can I please get some of that?
Yeah, okay, so there are ways. Okay, Paul?
For those who have a ability to write anything, put that in your kit, pen and piece of paper. If you go to survival blog, type in survival blog, comma, the 5 most common lethal infections. This wonderful article will come up on the 5 most common infections and all the different antibiotics that you can use to treat that and how much to use.
Okay,
So, survival blog, comma, the 5 most common lethal infections.
okay. Would that have picked up on the video?
I think so. You can say it again.
I'm not sure I can. Say it again.
Survival blog, comma,
Survival blog, comma,
the 5
The
most,
five most
the 5 most
lethal-
common lethal infections.
common lethal infections. And then it will say the antibiotics and the dose and all of that.
Yeah,
Okay, awesome. Emotional resilience. So the other day I was driving down the road and something had happened and I was feeling kind of pity party-ish, and thought, Pam, you've got to buck up here because things could get a whole lot worse. So just that kind of a thing, just being aware of our emotional resilience, building that. Spiritual preparations, the ability to receive personal revelation, to hear the Spirit, to know when to do something or when not to do something. Like, maybe I won't go into work today. You heard about those people. And then 9/11 happened and they weren't there. Just saying. Oil in our lamp, whatever is involved with spiritual preparedness for you. Taking a home inventory with photos and model numbers, serial numbers, and printed maps of your area and where the cell towers are. Okay, so those are just some ideas of general preparation. Okay, now I'm going to tell a story. This was the first story that I had that changed my perspective on everything. So we were living in the Philippines from 88 to 92. And while we were there, Mount Pinatubo erupted. Mount Pinatubo was 55 miles from Manila, which we lived in Metro Manila. Yes?
Right outside Clark Air Base.
Yes.
Right outside
Is that
Clark
where you
Air
were?
Base.
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, we weren't at Clark. We were in Manila.
Yes, but
Oh.
Mount Pinatubo was right outside of Clark.
Clark got flat.
Okay, so these are some photos. I'll pass them around so you can look at them. That's my favorite photo of Mount Pinatubo. I'll come around.
That is a pyroclastic flow.
And that's
Okay.
what killed the people in Pompeii.
And this is Clark Air Base.
Yeah, it was a bad-
It was flattened. The buildings, the hangars, everything were flattened by, well, I'll tell you, in the story I'll tell you. And this is just one of the areas. So I'll pass these around. Okay.
You might wanna wear an N95 mask during that.
You might. Okay. So, I was at church the next Sunday, a week later, and this new family was there. And so after the meetings, I went up to her and inquired who she was and all that. They were at a hotel, because they couldn't get a flight out, because the airport had closed, because they had so much, they called it lahar. And they did not have the infrastructure to be able to remove the lahar. So, I'll put on my glasses so I can read some of this. Okay, Mount, I'm just gonna do bullet points really fast because time. Mount Pinatubo had been experiencing minor activity for 2 months. Recently became more intense, and officials at Clark Air Base, about 15 miles west of the volcano, had talked about evacuating all on base except about 1,000 military police. During the Sunday church services, the bishop advised everyone to take the warning seriously, go home and get prepared just in case. Kind of like the list of things we've just talked about already needed to be done if possible, right? After sacrament meeting, Jerry, the one I'm speaking to, so let me go back and say, so we invited her to dinner, we had dinner, and then lunch, and then I gave her a couple of choices. You can go take a nap, you can go play with the kids outside, or if you would rather, you can come upstairs to my office and I will type your story, because this is really incredible. She opted to come upstairs to my office. And this is the firsthand experience right after it happened, okay? And she seemed like a perfectly normal, reasonable, intelligent person. After sacrament meeting, Jerry filled the empty water bottles she had in the car, filled the car with gas, and went home. Early Monday morning, there was an announcement that all military personnel were to evacuate to Subic Bay, which was approximately another 50 miles west of Clark. Jerry's husband, Ron, who worked as a civilian with a contract with the government at Ford Aerospace, and he was on assignment in Alaska and was not scheduled back until July. This was June, the beginning of June. They lived in Angeles City, which was a small town just outside of Clark. Jerry decided to stay in their home. Everyone had been evacuated. She decided to stay in her home and wait and see what Ford management suggested they do. The first large eruption was Tuesday at 8:50 a.m. A huge, massive cloud of smoke rose in the sky, tens of thousands of feet, in just 10 to 15 minutes, and drifted towards Clark. The wind blew back towards Mount Pinatubo. So it was like it goes out and then the wind blows it back to the volcano. Jerry developed an attitude of complacency. These are all her words. thinking that this would be all there was. I mean, it had only been 600 years since it had erupted before. So, you know. But it went off again during the night. And again Wednesday morning at almost the same time. Her husband, Ron, heard reports and called Jerry, telling her to leave as soon as possible. Thursday, she got the visa photos needed for the exit visas. She went to the immigration department on Friday and was told she could not get the exit visas before Monday or Tuesday. Ron's calls were now frantic. He made Jerry so nervous she couldn't function or get her priorities straight. He would tell her a list of 12 to 15 things to do, and she was overwhelmed. She thought, we're really going to leave, but she couldn't grasp the reality of the situation, and denial had set in. She did nothing to prepare. She did not mail the packages of personal belongings she had packed and addressed to herself back to the States. She did not pack clothing, food, documents, or any items for herself and her 6 children. They were ages about, I think her oldest was 14, down to 2 or 3. Thinking we can't leave until Tuesday anyway, Jerry planned to go down Monday morning and complete the paperwork. But early Saturday morning, with her 11-year-old daughter, Sarah, Jerry went out to the street at 6 a.m. Another huge eruption was occurring. In the distance, air raid sirens at Clark were sounding. They went back in, ate breakfast, and did all the routine things that you would do if there's not a volcano just a few miles away. At 10 a.m., the electric power was off. Shortly after, Ron called to know why she was still there. Well, she couldn't leave yet because they didn't have the exit visas. While on the phone, an eerie darkness set in. She knew it had something to do with the volcano. I've got to tell you, I was on the phone to my travel agent at that time, coordinating our summer travel leave. And the guy on the phone said, "Whoa, do you think this is like the second coming?" It was a really eerie thing, and that was in Manila, okay? All right. She never felt so helpless or alone. Imagine 6 kids, husband's gone. Okay. Outside, it was now totally black and pouring sand. They lit their Coleman lanterns, and it was 10:30 a.m. And they waited 8 hours. At 6 o'clock p.m., they sat down to dinner and felt the first of what would be hundreds of earthquake tremors. Later, the tremors got so bad, it felt like the earth never quit moving. They waited for the house to fall down. The children brought bedding to their mother's room. They had family prayer, and everyone but Jerry and the 12-year-old Jeffrey went to sleep. After approximately 14 hours of pouring ash and rocks, the rains from a typhoon came. Behind their house was a wooden fence, and beyond the fence was a large hill. The pouring rains brought water and lahar, the sandy debris from the volcanic eruptions, down the hill, crashing through the fence, through the backyard, and hitting into their house. The bathrooms backed up and filled the house with sewer water. The street in front of their house now had 2 to 3 feet of water rushing down it, filled with large rocks, limbs, mud, lahar, and other debris. At 2 o'clock a.m., Ron called. Can I just say that in itself was a miracle, because telephone lines in the Philippines were notoriously down. So 2 a.m. he gets through, and he gives comfort and instructions to Jerry, convinced her to take the children and go somewhere safer than sewer in your house. At 4 a.m. Sunday morning, carrying 2.5-year-old Jennifer, Jerry led the other 5 children down their dark flooded street to Ron's supervisor's house. They took just the few things they could carry. Al was awakened by their knocking. His house had not flooded. They sat in the dark, still no electricity, on his floor for about an hour until daylight. At 6:30 a.m., Ford's program manager came by instructing all Ford employees to get out of Angeles City. They could still hear the thundering of Mount Pinatubo and could still feel the earth shaking. Jerry sent 12-year-old Jeff and 14-year-old Jeremy back to their house to get more clothes, to replace the muddy ones they were wearing, and to bring whatever they could. A 12 and 14-year-old boys.
Graham crackers.
At least. Okay, maybe. They had to dig out a foot of mud and sand from the gate, get the car out of the driveway. Al's car was 4-wheel drive, or they would have never gotten out, or even through the street. Her children piled in, and they joined the mass exodus toward Manila. She said they witnessed almost complete devastation everywhere. Nothing looked familiar or even recognizable. Thousands of people were carrying everything they could and were walking south, away from the volcano. Homes and businesses were destroyed, livestock killed, crops disappeared. Lives were affected, never to be the same. They looked for a hotel for 2 hours. They ended up having the most expensive one because everybody else took the ones that were more priced, not so expensive. With no equipment to move the several inches of ash or lahar, which landed at the airport officials contracted to have the runways covered again with concrete.
What takes a month to cure?
All incoming and outgoing flights were canceled for at least a week.
Yeah, but that's the mindset in stuff like that. You don't know what to do, so you just either do nothing or you throw out stuff, and it doesn't make sense. Most of what people do in those situations make no sense at all.
I know. So that's why we had the conversation first about all the things you're going to do, and now you know why. Okay? So situational awareness. The blizzard's coming. You hear the weatherman saying it's coming, so you're going to... So, just a second. When during 9/11, during the toilet paper run... COVID. What'd I say?
9/11.
COVID-19, that was the... Okay. The toilet paper run. Reed and I did go to the grocery. I asked, do you have toilet paper? I had plenty of toilet paper. I was just curious if Carol's had run out. They said, no, we don't have toilet paper. I go, oh, okay. We bought ice cream. We had everything else we needed. So, just
why
saying.
didn't you have ice cream?
Except for ice cream, which we did have,
What really matters here.
Well, maybe you just didn't have enough for the anticipated time frame.
Exactly.
So you did have emergency reserves.
So
of
I
ice
will
cream.
tell you, before Mount Pinatubo erupted in 91, during 89, there was a coup d'etat. I won't go into a whole lot of detail on that. But
Where? Philippines?
in the Philippines,
Wonderful.
it was also Metro Manila area. And there, the area we were at there, that's going to be actually in part 2, but we had stocked up on ice cream and we saved it for everything because you couldn't buy it in the stores there. We had to get it we got Baskin Robbins from Clark Air Base. whenever we would go, we'd take a cooler and fill it with ice cream, stock up, but we could only have it on very special occasions. We had it every night during the week of the coup. Okay, Paul had a comment. Do you even remember?
You need to not rely on management ever,
Right?
right? Okay? Because during 9/11, when the first tower got hit and the people looked out the window, did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, and they started down the stairs, and what did the PA say?
Let's go back.
The building is secure, everybody go back to work. Well, some people went all the way down to the lobby and they were just about out of the building and they said, okay, the building is secure, you go back to your work, okay? The ones who went upstairs died, and
Yeah.
the ones who said,
I don't think
I
so.
won't say that here, they lived. So,
Yeah.
to hell with management, you do what you know you need to
Personal
do.
revelation.
Yeah.
And your training, you think through scenarios. You go, what do I need to do in this situation? And then you do it.
How about common sense?
And
Yeah.
common sense.
Not that.
Not anymore.
We were talking about keeping your composure in a situation, a stressful situation. I think most, well, especially men with healthy egos, think that they will, that they'll keep their composure if something bad happens. And I used to think that myself, but especially over the last few years, I've been in some stressful situations and realized that I do not keep my wits about me. I freeze up and I don't know what to do, and it's a good thing I'm with you because you do keep calm.
Do you remember I'm not sure I can remember the name of the movie, but it was about Pearl Harbor. Maybe that was the name of the movie.
Yeah.
And right after the bombs and stuff, and the nurses come out, and the one nurse says, I don't know what to do. And she screams that, remember? It's like, yeah, we need to think through, what would I do in that situation? Do you remember what she did? Pulled out her lipstick tube and started triage on the guys that, on their forehead, wrote down the code, whatever. Okay. Next story.
Can I mention something?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Like, if you've ever been in any sort of combat or anything, there's two things, right? You know, the fight or flight thing.
Or freeze.
But, but even in high stress situations like that, you can do either one, even if you've ran it through. Most of the time when you've done the muscle memory in your brain will work right. But depending on the entire environment, you might just short circuit and completely, even just here in Fountain Green, when it flooded, there was a house that just got flooded so bad. And the sweet lady who was living there, she said do you remember how she just said, like, I didn't know what to do? And so
people came to help, and she said, what do you want us to do? She said, I have no idea.
I don't know, but she was lucky because she had people coming to help that knew what to do. And so she said, like, just start to do what you know how to do. And so they did. Anyway, it was fascinating visiting with her because she didn't know. I mean, it's not like she's well seasoned in that sort of
Well,
thing.
people that showed up to help didn't know either.
Yeah.
But there was one guy that
knew.
happened to him, and he knew what to do, and so he took charge. And she's like, I don't know what they're doing, because they're all standing around waiting for her. And she's
So
like,
what you're talking about is the afterwards, like pulling off the drywall or clearing it?
No,
Or this was
is
during
like the
the
house
actual,
is still almost up to the ceiling in water.
okay,
And they have to pump it out, and
I
they have
see.
to, like, there's
Okay.
things that have to be done to keep people safe, and
okay.
she had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man, if my house is underwater, I'm not entirely sure what to do except for
I haven't done that
evacuate.
before.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay, you ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was just saw a little blurb come up on, Google, probably. And this was in 2010. Did we even have Google back then?
Yeah.
Probably, okay. And so I saw this story and I was very curious about it. And his story has changed the way I do a lot of things. So the individual's name is Daniel Woolley, and he was a photographer, maybe still is, and he had gone to Haiti with a companion, and they were filming stories of people who were living in poverty and trying to help them get out and tell them about programs that they had in their company that they worked for. They had been out filming, and they had come back to the hotel, and he was, they were in the lobby. He talked to his wife, said, we're going up to the room to change, and then we're going to dinner. And as they were walking through the lobby, the earth started shaking in Haiti. The buildings are not the same building code that we have. It was a 6-story hotel, one of the nicest ones. And so the earthquake happens. He's got his companion is right beside him, and they start to dash for the door, and the ceilings pancake. About 4 to 6 months later, they found his companion. His foot was trapped under some debris. He wasn't able to get his shoe and foot out, so he slipped his foot out of the shoe. His backpack was ripped off his back, but he had his camera bag still attached.
Daniel, not
Daniel,
Okay.
Not his
Daniel.
companion.
not the companion.
The companion car got flattened pretty quick.
His glasses were knocked off. He had his camera. And so with his camera, he was able to put it up to him and click and see kind of where he was at and what was available. And he was able to see there was a place that it ended up being an elevator shaft that he could see. It looked like a closet. So he debated, shall I go? Shall I stay here? And he had the impression that if he stayed, there would be the aftershocks and he would not make it. So he started crawling to get to that elevator shaft that I think was about 20 feet away. And he ended up being there for 65 hours. And so I was teaching another class a couple years ago for CERT. And so I looked it up to refresh myself on his story, and found that he had written a book about it. So this is his book. And so I read his book. He's got stories, so they were able to get him out. But he told about what had happened. So he had a head injury, he had a compound fracture in his leg. His biggest thing was dehydration. He had watched some wilderness show. The Bear Grylls shows. And Bear apparently had drunk his urine to survive. And so he goes, oh, that's what you do when you don't have anything to drink. And so he did that twice, and said it was pretty miserable. Because he didn't have a container to receive it in. His water bottles were in his backpack that he left. Anyway, so a lot of his story, I thought, what would I do if I was trapped, injured in an elevator shaft for 65 hours? And having read his story, realizing that in the beginning, you have hope, and then you lose hope, and then you get hope back, and you lose hope. Hope's a really important thing in a situation like this. He had a notebook with him, and with his camera, he had the light on his camera. He was able to write a couple of really scratchy notes to his family to say goodbye, because he thought it was the end. So, from his experience...
What's his name?
I'm going to give you a handout, and it's going to have all the information on it. Daniel Woolley. So, let's talk about that for a minute. If you were trapped in an elevator shaft that's like 4x4. You're wounded. What would you like to have with you?
Water.
Water
And a cup.
and a cup.
Nighttime.
And what is it?
Flashlight.
A flashlight. What else?
A blanket.
Right?
Something to eat.
Yeah, he got cold because he actually peed into his t-shirt and then squoze it out to drink it. But then his t-shirt was wet and stinky and he got cold. So, blanket. What else?
Food.
Food. I would like to add that if we have food, we're going to also defecate.
Yeah.
And so then you've got to deal with that, which he did not mention.
No food.
Pardon?
I wouldn't eat food if you don't have water.
I think I would need, this is just me, but I think I would need something to put my mind to, like something
Yes.
to intellectually
Yes.
navigate so that I didn't just cycle the devastation.
Because that's what we
over
tend to
and
do,
over.
right? Whenever anything bad has happened, we just go on repeat.
Of course, if it's dark, you're not gonna be able to read.
Unless you've got Paul's flashlight.
Yeah, but how long is that gonna last?
But you can do like the
About 30
ABCs.
days.
Speed read.
You can do like the ABCs, you can do like the things that you know, you can sing nursery rhymes, you can do the things that are like, you're bringing up, you're allowing the neurons to at least fire, so they kick off the chemicals that you need.
So he was thinking about his wife, his kids, his,
Inhibitors.
what would it be like for them if he doesn't come back? He was just worrying about all the hard things. And then there were some rescue teams that came. So remember, there were rescue teams from all over the world that came. And there was a French group, and they came, but there was another group of people that were by the front desk. He couldn't see them, but they could hear each other and talk. And there was actually another fellow who was in the elevator shaft next to him, but actually he was in the elevator, and so it wasn't opened. So he was stuck in the other guy in the elevator, where Daniel was just in the shaft. And they could all, well, this other guy could not hear the group. There were like 4 or 6 over here. So Daniel could talk to them, and then Daniel relayed. And so they had conversations. So the rescue group, one of the gals in that group was able to get out far enough to attract the attention of rescuers, and they said, we'll come back. But then, and they asked, how many are there? And she said 6. And then he starts saying, oh no, they're not even going to know to look for us. So some of those psychological, emotional things were components. Okay, so I have a list. I'll read my list. A power bank to charge your phone, and a cord.
In the backpack that got taken off your back and left somewhere else, right?
Okay, so let's go back. So Paul has influenced me, and I am wearing for the first time cargo pants. Reed said to me today, I don't recognize those. Yeah, well, that would be why. So I'm, in honor of you, Paul, I'm wearing cargo pants tonight. And I'm also wearing a fanny belt here, and I have a second one that's clear back here that's really thin line. So just to accommodate in things. But then I will carry my, so, you know, it's not a big bag. It's my baguette. It's a small bag. One that I'm willing to carry everywhere. You run into the grocery. I'm a minimalist. I don't want to take anything.
Yeah.
But if I'm stuck in a place, maybe I want to reconsider that. Okay, so a bag and whatever you keep on you, because he had on cargo pants and he started finding things in his cargo pants. He found a pen, found a pair of chewing gum, a stick of chewing gum. So he found some things that he had forgotten he even had in his cargo pants, but no water. His water bottles were in his backpack.
Mylar blanket.
Right, a Mylar blanket, exactly. Okay, water. Okay, folks, a whistle.
Mhm.
First aid, he had an app on his phone so he knew what to do with his compound fracture and the wound in the back of his head. Cash in small bills, a pen and notebook, food or an energy source, survival tabs, you know those little tabs?
What?
High calorie.
While you're digging there,
Uh-huh.
I was a chaperone at the girls' camp a couple years ago,
Yeah?
and they lost a girl, so we had, it dark, they got all the men together, and we were gonna go out and find this girl in the woods. There
Yeah.
wasn't one man there out of 30 men that had a flashlight. Or in his truck. Okay? I got my cell phone. Yeah, okay, so, this is a PowerTac flashlight, they make very good flashlights. It's a tactical flashlight, it'll withstand the recoil of a rifle, you know, slave to a gun. Okay, so to answer your question, this has many settings on it. So this setting is like a candle, and it'll burn for 30 days straight.
What kind is it?
PowerTac.
Power.
PowerTac. So, you know, I mean, you don't need all that power, you know, because on maximum, it'll only burn like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're done. But if you use the lowest setting, and I can use this in the cabin of an aircraft at night, you know, without blinding everybody, okay? But you should have this on your corpse all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I use it in the daytime, especially in a store, when I can't quite read the stuff on the bottom shelf and I'm too lazy to bend down there. I can light that thing up like the sun. Oh yeah, I can read now. Okay, so, but this needs to be on you all the time. It does you no good in the trunk of your car. Okay, I'll shut up.
Thank you. Do you want to come and show it in the camera?
Oh. This one's 15 years old, and it's rechargeable. It recharges off your standard cell phone, USB.
About a Leatherman,
I've never seen them in courses. So this one's about $70, and people go $70 for a flashlight. Well, your life depends on this.
Oh, that's your best $70 you're gonna spend.
Yeah, that's the best $70 you ever spent. So this is basically a weapon, and they're non-regulated, so you can carry it on an aircraft. But you know, if you have some schmo come up to you in a parking lot at night and you shoot him in the face with that,
Yeah.
okay, he's gonna go, oh, he's gonna stagger backwards, and all he's gonna see for 5 minutes is orange balls.
Walk this way when you leave. When you leave for your seat.
Okay, these are the survival tabs. Yes, Reed?
Add something, most, as you know, most real men wear a Leatherman at all times on their belt. And if you have the right case for your Leatherman, they make little flashlights smaller than that, but very powerful, that just goes in with your Leatherman. And so, if you're a real man, you'll have it with you all the time. I don't know about real women, but I know about real men.
This is the survival tab. That's a size. So I just put some in my little thing here, so it's full of just survival tabs. And they say you can have them like 1 an hour or something, and
And that's what they're called, survival.
they come in different flavors. You can get them in a larger container, but, yeah. Or these kind, I mean, you're not gonna carry that with you. That's gonna be in a different kit, but, okay, let me go on so that I can. I have this little flashlight, or headlight. I like headlights. And this one is pretty bright.
Wow.
Does it have multiple settings? Okay, so if you have something that'll, you know, power way down, it'll last a long time.
Right, so, just some ideas, right? A case for my reading glasses that's on me so that it doesn't get knocked off. Cause I I don't want it knocked off, right? Okay. Some of these other things are not for right now. Personal medications. If you have some medical thing you need, then you need to do that. And your meds and a medical card if you've got something that a first responder needs to know about. And your emergency contact phone list. Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I once came up to an accident and the lady was at that point kind of pinned in the car and her phone had gone flying. And she, actually no, it went flying and then it got stuck in the windshield. So they couldn't even
Get it out.
It was not available. And so I said, well, do you know somebody's phone number? Can I call them for you? And she said, no, I know my ex-husband's phone number. I'm like, well, do you want me to call him? Yeah, tell him to call my kid. And so whatever numbers you have in your head might be the only ones you have available.
Unless you have a laminated card in
That
your,
is, yeah, if it's
Laminated.
available.
okay. So what this was a surprise event. He was not expecting it. Like the other one that they had lots of warning, right? For a couple of weeks before they knew. And warnings, people were telling him to take it seriously, get out. Husband calling 16 things to do at once. This is different, surprise event. So I'm not gonna take the time, but I'll give you each a copy of this, okay? All right, the last one. I have no idea the time. Am I okay?
Keep going.
It's okay.
The last one.
7:54.
We're good, just keep going.
Just keep going.
By this time I had moved, I left the Philippines and I was living in Orem, and I was really involved with preparedness things in our ward and stake and city with the 3 Steps program. Is anybody familiar with that? So it was a neighborhood thing called 3 Steps, and it was just helping your neighbors, your immediate neighbors, get prepared. They did the group captains of 10 homes, that kind of thing is what they were doing. But we were meeting with people from all over the city and just support those who were in charge of the program within our specific neighborhood. And so I met Liz. And Liz had been working with her neighborhood for years, and they were uber prepared. And one night, she got a knock on her door, and a policeman was there and said, there has been a bomb threat in our neighborhood, and you have 1 minute to leave. You may not drive out. One minute. So she gets her coat on. This was January, by the way, in the evening. She tells her husband, we've got to leave. And they go outside, and there's a cul-de-sac, and they're huddled together with all the people in her neighborhood. And after they've been huddled there for a while and talking and whatever, somebody asks, hey, did anyone bring their 72-hour kit? No one had. So, from this experience, Liz and I talked about what should happen in a situation like this. So, from just thinking it through and talking and everything, these experiences that I've told you about are what has created the plan that I have, the alternative to the normal 72-hour kit. So it's in modules. So the first step is just generally get prepared. The second step is to have personal everyday carry, whatever you're going to have. That's the first step. You're always going to have that. Okay, so when I'm in bed at night, I'm not going to have on my cargo pants or my fanny packs or that. But those are going to be accessible, right? Because in this minute kit, that's my next module or kit, whatever, in this system. That is designed for not the end of the world. It's designed for a personal emergency, like a house fire. You're going to be leaving in a minute or less. What are you going to take? What is it you need in that kit that the rest of the city still functions? It might also be just a neighborhood event, like the bomb threat, or it could be. So remember, I think it was in Saratoga Springs or Eagle Mountain, there was a guy who had come in. He was an HVAC guy and he was doing an inspection, turned on the light switch and the house blew up. So there could be just a neighborhood thing from a tragedy like that, or a flood. But the rest of the world still works. Walmart is still open. Costco is still there. It's not turmoil and mayhem. It's just a personal or a local event. But you have 1 minute to leave, and you may come back in a couple hours, or you may never have a house to come back to. So what is it you want in that kit?
Your personal papers of all kinds.
Your personal documents.
Yes.
But not necessarily in paper form. You may want them on a USB stick, in addition, if you have them. So one of the things that I have, in my little document safe, which used to be really more watertight than this is, but I'll get it out just a minute. And I did mine in a photo album, just a cheapy photo album. But I have in here our contact info, our names, our blood type, our address. I had to update this, you know. Local emergency contacts, my care providers, our family disaster plan, where we're going to meet and all that, our evacuation plan, photo of all of our children, my ham radio license, my insurance information, my credit card information, a copy of my driver's license, family financials so that I know what bills I have to pay and the account number and who to pay and when. And then addresses for each of our kids, their phone number and their phone number and their family photo. I went to, it just had you and Keith. My marriage certificate license. It's a shrunk down copy. I went to the county and had them shrink it down, and this is an official copy.
Oh.
They stamped it and it's an official copy.
Why would you need that?
Identification.
When you die.
Yeah,
Will they shrink a birth certificate, original birth
they
certificate?
probably will. They weren't happy when I started having everybody do it, but they did. They did it. Okay, I have,
And also, if something should happen to Reed, and you need to verify that you're
we
the
were
spouse.
married. Or that,
Or that
yes.
your kid is yours.
Yes, or that to claim Social Security
Right.
benefits. I mean, remember, this is the last thing you've got out of your house, perhaps, right? I have a letter from Reed. I have my patriarchal blessing. I have my testimony. And I have photos of my kids.
If you like last rites, I'm not rights, but.
Will
but.
stuff.
a
Yeah, you
trust-
can
a
have that.
trust,
I got
Or
my favorite picture of Reed and I.
do not resuscitate type stuff.
You can have that, whatever, I mean, so this is about you. I'm just giving you ideas here, right?
Well, you know what, there's a lot of, problem with trafficking, children. And authorities, when you go through the authorities, they're gonna, how do I know this is your kid?
Yeah. Or grandkid.
Grandkid, yeah.
Okay. So you said papers. What else do you want in this? Yes,
Dare I say gun and a couple of clips?
absolutely. You can have that. You may not want to wait to have it there. You may want it in
No.
your other kit.
You mean
Your first kid.
No, I'm just saying, okay.
One of
For Paul,
those-
I'm saying this, okay, this is for Paul.
That's right. So in this kit, you may want your additional guns
There you go,
or
okay.
ammo.
Your long gun or something, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
don't
what
report it to
else?
police.
A sweatshirt. I always want a sweatshirt.
So,
They went outside in the
so
middle of the
I
night.
am a student of Jim Phillips, and he would not be happy with a sweatshirt. If he would not be happy with a sweatshirt because you need to have like a fortress or foam clothing. The sweatshirt is cotton and it's gonna be problematic.
Fortress sweatshirt, a base layer.
Okay, what else?
So this is a grab and go. Is what you're talking about, grab and go.
Yes, you've got it packed. What do you have it packed in?
Yeah.
I want to have a rolling backpack
Yeah, something portable.
so that I can roll it or I can backpack it. So that's what I've got to read. Okay? Rolling. And
Don't you think you ought to have some matches, these little kids?
remember, the rest of the world still works. You're not ready for matches. That's in the next module.
Okay.
So the rest of the world functions. You're going to stay at a friend, a family member's, or at a local motel. For this type of a situation. Then another thing I'm going to pack, or I'm going to have available, is an empty bag. So I want a list that I attached to my bag of all the last minute things I'm going to grab as my 1 minute to get out as I'm leaving. I mean, what is it that I want?
Chocolate.
Chocolate, a photo album, your family history, something that you don't.
Water bottle.
All the water you can carry.
Well, and for me too, like scriptures, right? Like even the little ones, because there's the answer to all of it in there. That
Or
is
your
the answer to
personal
all of it.
scriptures that you've been working with
Sure.
for the last 20 years. Whatever is really important to you. So again, this class is about you and what you need. We're just doing ideas right now. What else might you want?
Medication, maybe throw in.
Full-size medications, bigger things. So on my list, I've got Formula 303. It's an herbal muscle relaxant so that I can go to sleep at night if I'm all worked up and anxiety and worried and all that. Okay, first aid, more first aid things. Work gloves. Work gloves, what is it? What was the emergency? We don't know. Work gloves. A full change of clothing, including 2 pair of wool socks. Darn tough socks, like that. And we just watched Groundhog Day the other day, and he keeps stepping off the sidewalk into a pool of water, so it just reminded me, waterproof socks, right? Your document safe, and yeah, so that's the main thing. The things that you would need to be able to sleep at night. I have a list of things that I want to have. Oh, and some of the things that we haven't talked about necessarily, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? You might be just away from home and stressed about things. So I have a little fidget toy. And I want to also do a plug for consecrated oil and other essential oils. And this is a water flask that you can carry in a pocket instead of, or these kind too, but this kind's handy. I've got some entertainment things here, some markers and postcards actually. You can color it in and then write a note to somebody if you were, whatever. A deck of playing cards, a little tiny deck. Yeah. And Yahtzee, the whole Yahtzee thing in there. And maybe you want things that you can, just reminders of things that are emotional support in a little. I haven't filled this out yet, but it's got adhesive little pages so you can, if you've got your reading glasses, you can read little tiny print things. Okay.
I would add eye wash.
I got that.
Okay.
It's over here. Daniel really wanted that. It was just all gritty.
Yeah, if you get something in your eye, you know, that's.
Yeah, eye wash. BF&C, you all know about BF&C, right? Dr. Christopher's Bone, Flesh, and Cartilage.
CTR is the other guy.
Oh, you
that
mean Kyle
made it.
Cranson's CTR.
Yeah.
And I put it in this container so that you can do that.
Poppy has a
Okay, yes, Reed?
Have you mentioned earplugs yet?
It's on my list.
Because
And an
if
eye mask.
it's an evacuation, we've been to the, volunteered for the Red Cross and,
We're not going to the Red Cross yet. That's in the next module.
okay, but even if you stay at somebody's house and they got a lot of kids and you might want to
It's on the
have
list. It's on the
earplugs.
list.
Now, electrolytes, in case you need it.
And the electrolytes. And I have those in a little, like I put them in a film canister.
They also have this individual packets that's like in front of you.
And then a
Yeah.
drink, just support, daily nutritional support. Looking through, oh. I don't know if this is really, I don't think that's really for this situation. But a pillow, who said that? Somebody wanted a pillow, an inflatable pillow.
Use a rucksack for that.
Or you can use a rucksack, but your guys and gals don't want a rucksack for a pillow. We want a real inflatable pillow. So-
Probably a husband if that's available, right?
And a husband with the pillow, because husbands can be bony.
Not this husband.
No, there's no bones that stick out. Yeah, just a little inflatable pillow.
Huh, how about that?
If you're
Okay.
in Salt Lake or Los Angeles, you may not wanna sleep.
Yeah, right.
You may want amphetamines instead.
And you may want to have a lock to lock up yours. But that's again, a different scenario. We're doing just these two scenarios. Okay, I have your handouts now.
I have a question, this would be the second scenario thingy, I think. Maybe it was the third. The bomb threat. They were just to go out from their house and they gathered in front of their house. Everybody from all these houses were just standing there.
I didn't
That's
think
what
that
they
was a
did.
good
They
idea.
had to leave their
Doesn't make
house.
sense.
I don't know, that's what she said.
You can vote for it.
So it's just
Okay.
one?
Yeah, there's just one page, and on the back is for you to fill out what you need to do, to purchase, gather, or learn.
The minute kit, that's great.
So I've described the minute kit and what it's used for. I've described the everyday carry, general prep and awareness, but on this side, it's a list of the things we've talked about, the things that I had. So like I didn't talk about, I don't have on here the antibiotics that Paul talked about. So you'll have to remember
But how do you get them? He has a guy that can get them for him. But how does it-
he had a doctor who prescribed it.
You figure out his doctor.
I know there's a website that you can buy some stuff from India. The person, what's his name? He is from the Fairview First Ward. he's a dentist. He's one of your.
Mark Peters.
Yeah, Mark Peterson. He told us about it, and of course I don't know the website, but I'm sure we could get it to you or search up
All-
prescriptions online. I don't know.
Well,
All Day Chemist sells a lot of pharmaceuticals.
Try that one. That sounds like a great
About
option.
If anyone wants to order more ivermectin,
Family
we're
pharmacies. and
doing
other-
another order.
There are at least 3 websites that
Veterinary.
sell
Contact me.
fish antibiotics. There are fish antibiotics, there's veterinaries that have antibiotics that we can get. But I would prefer people ones if we have that option,
Besides all day chemist.
my first choice.
They advertise on Fox News Channel all the time, Family Pharmacy or something like that.
Okay, well, thank you all for your participation. Yes, go
So,
ahead.
since we're talking about preparation, it's a good idea to get to know your neighbors, maybe have your neighbors come together, hand out something like this or something, so that,
Yeah,
you know, when something happens, maybe twice a year or something like that, and just get to know each other.
Like Jim says, you're not prepared until your neighbor is.
There you go.
So I'm just saying, in all of this, you may have a little handout or a little food package. Things got really bad that you can say, here, take this, don't come back, but this, I'm giving you this, good luck.
yeah, there's a theory
I
on
mean,
that.
that's down the line,
What's
I'm
the
just saying.
theory?
Okay,
You should have a combat tourniquet on your body all the time. Because if you need a tourniquet, if you don't have it in 30 or 40 seconds, you're done. Tourniquet.
She's reaching for her.
I got mine.
There it is.
Mhm. Look at that.
Well, you can find yours.
You can find mine, Paul. Yours isn't so easy to find.
Man pants. Cargo pants.
Okay, so,
Yeah, well, you can fill that up.
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
So yeah, in February,
We'll do another,
right.
the next, there might actually need to be 3 modules,
We'll see.
because it takes, you know, by the time we talk about it and do the story and. Okay, any questions that you wanna ask or comments?
We hope there's heat next time. But this is preparing us.
Okay,
In your experience, previously in wards and stuff, being the emergency preparedness person, have you found people that, just said, I don't give a rip, I don't care about this?
yes, of course. And so you just have to focus on the ones who do. And determine how you want to respond in the emergency with those who didn't want to prepare. Yeah, it's a,
I like the way that you broke this down into different types of events, right? The
Good.
no warning event, the, you know, local to your house or neighborhood or, you know, gas leak or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the rest of the world is running, and I think that's a really good way to organize
Thank you.
thinking about it.
Very good class.
Yes.
Good handouts.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you.
very, very much.
you were the one that was intimidated